we have is, what building is the art and animation course? I don't know, does anybody else know the answer to that question?
So the art and animation courses fall under the School of Computing, Engineering and Physical Sciences. The computing labs for that school mainly are in the E block and the F block, which will mean absolutely nothing to you right now. But the facilities are fantastic. You tend to find that your courses would be delivered within the same kind of 1 or 2 computer labs and the same kind of 1 or 2 buildings. You don't tend to move too much across the buildings unless it's for lectures and things like that. But for the School of Computing and Engineering and Physical Sciences, it's mostly an E and F block. I hope that answered your question.
I have posted the link to the PDF, and it's on page 2 is where you can see all the buildings, so hopefully that'll make it a wee bit more clearer for you.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, let's see. Right.
The next question. Oh, sorry, Laura.
On you go, Kirsty.
The next question is, do you have car parking facilities? Unfortunately, we don't at the Paisley campus. There is, however, plenty of places to park round about. We do offer a park and ride system as well, and if that is the case, then you will be able to get a space in the sort of staff and visitor car park. So that's definitely worth looking into, and I think there is a link on a website somewhere for that as well. We'll get that posted in the chat for you to look into that more as well.
Thank you. Okay, somebody's asking what building is the event management course in, and that is actually covered, that building in the virtual tour, and that is in the Gardner building, which is part of our School of Business and Creative Industries. So the Gardner building is where you would spend the majority of your time, and possibly also in D block in some of the lecture theatres there. Again, D block, where's that means nothing to you, but hopefully the link that Lisa's posted will shed some light on that.
It does, yeah, it does. If you have a wee look on the PDF, it's page 2. Page 1 is more about Paisley, but page 2 is quite specific to our campus, and you can see the names of all the buildings. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Lucy's asked which building's the gym in. It's in the Students' Union, which again you can see on the map. So it's actually just a 2-minute walk from the campus library, the gym area.
Yeah, thank you. Someone's asking, is the kitchen area shared with other students? Yes, it is.
This might be one for Kaylee. What building does the psychology course take place in? You don't happen to know that, Kaylee, or maybe Kirsty?
It's usually, I think it's quite near the library. I think that's where most of the social sciences subjects are. I can't remember what block that is. Is it L block? Again, it will mean nothing to you just now, but it is. Paisley campus is one of these campuses where it is quite spread out, but everything is linked, so you can usually get from one building to the other, just walking through a tunnel or walking under a bridge. So it is all linked together, so it is quite easy just to get around and quite quick, so you don't need to worry too much about getting to one class and another in 5 minutes. You can usually make it, so don't worry too much about it.
Someone's asked, Ryan, hi Ryan. Ryan's asked, will there be any open days after restrictions have been lifted? What I will say is, and I think possibly the team have put something in the chat about our offer holder session. We will be running an offer holder sessions, which is exactly what it says in the name. Anyone who's holding an offer for UWS will be invited along to join this virtual event, which will take place on Saturday, the 24th of April from 11 AM till 1 PM. And that will be an opportunity, look maybe similar. It's going to be a platform that we'll be using. It's one that we used last year for our open day, but this will really give you the opportunity to interact virtually with our academics and ask specific questions regarding your particular programme. So we have got that coming up for offer holders. Over and above that, Ryan, I'm not 100% sure just with the way the guidelines are going to go. We are obviously all following the Scottish Government guidelines. Whenever it is safe to do so, there's nothing we want more than to get folks onto a physical campus and show them these fantastic facilities that we have. So whenever it is safe to do so, we will be putting that as an offering to folks to come onto campus.
So the next
Lucy's asked within the chat box rather than the question answer, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to address that one so that we don't end up losing it when we're posting all the links. So Lucy's asked, what building do the nursery students go to, and is there somewhere that's sort of like a hospital setting? So Lucy, I believe, Kaylee might keep me right here, but I believe the majority of our nursing students are taught in areas in the Bruff building, which is where the main reception was that Laura showed at the beginning. Is that right, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
yes,
7 floors in that building.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just adding on there. I think there's about 7 floors in that building, so they are just up on the upper floors above the main reception.
Yeah, and there are excellent facilities. So if you go on, Kaylee posted a link within this chat for the Paisley 360-degree imagery. See if you go on and have a look at the Lanarkshire one, you'll see typical nursing suites within that. Now, they are Lanarkshires, but they're pretty similar what is in Paisley. Lanarkshire is a brand new campus, so do just bear that in mind, but the facilities at Paisley are still equally amazing, so go on and have a wee look at that. The post should be further up this chat. Lucy, hopefully you find it. If not, I will try and get it while we're answering these questions at the same time for you though. All right, thank you.
Okay, accommodation questions. Someone's asked how much is the accommodation. The accommodation in terms of cost differs slightly from campus to campus, and I would just like to stress that we have our own UWS student accommodation, as you saw there, certainly at Paisley campus, and we also have similar ensuite new facilities at our Ayr campus. We don't have our own UWS accommodation at Lanarkshire campus nor Dumfries campus. There is student accommodation very close, which has been newly built in the Lanarkshire area, close to where the old campus was. But if you have a look at the accommodation page on our website, you can get the details there of how much it costs at Paisley and at Ayr.
I've posted that in the chat if you've not seen it already, so you can go on and get the link.
The next one is, are the sports and societies come under the same website, or is there extra steps for joining the sports team? So societies are on the Students' Union website, which was posted in the chat. So if you scroll up, you could most likely find that there. And then the sports teams are on the Team UWS web page. But for sports teams, usually you have to pay a fee depending on what sport you're doing. So if you're doing something like equestrian, obviously it's going to be a bit more expensive because you have to hire out and maybe travel to the stables, etc. But usually you pay a yearly fee, which covers insurance, it covers your membership for the team. So for example, volleyball is around £30 a year for the whole year, and you obviously can get involved in the competitive leagues and the training as well. So have a look on the Team UWS website for the sports, because it tells you, it links you to the Facebook pages, groups for the sports team, so you can ask them any questions about that, how much it costs per year, etc.
Somebody's asking what the average lecture size and class size is. I'll just answer that. I was a student at Paisley campus as well, so just to give you an idea, it really does depend on the course that you're in. What usually happens is you'll have, for courses like the business related courses, ones that don't involve labs and workshops and things, you'll usually have lectures and tutorials that will make up your week on campus. So your lecture could be any size up to maybe 150 people, and you'd be in a larger lecture theatre, and that can involve people from not only your course but maybe from other similar courses where the modules kind of cross over a wee bit. I'm sure Kirsty will be able to vouch for that as well as a past student, where students from other courses do tend to join the same modules across the board. So your lectures would be the biggest kind of sizes. They're kind of usually about 100 to 150 people. Sometimes you do get smaller ones as well, but it's your tutorial classes, that's when you would get the more kind of hands-on and more kind of one-to-one opportunities with your lecturers. That's where you'd go in and you'd have a class maybe of 15 people. roughly. And that's where you'd get the opportunity to work more closely with a smaller group, and then you can speak more closely with your lecturers and your tutors as well to ask questions about the lecture. And then of course things like labs and workshops and things, they do tend to be a wee bit bigger, but the spaces are much bigger as well to accommodate for that and to accommodate for all the equipment. So it just depends on the course that you're on. All right.
Right, someone's asked if you've received a conditional offer and already have my results, what happens next? So unfortunately, we don't know what your conditional offer was for, and we don't know what your results are. But if you've already received your results, you need to notify the university, and our admissions team will update things accordingly in your UCAS application through track. Am I right?
Just to add on to that, if you've got your results, so say you're at college, for example, and maybe your lecturer at college has told you your results, unfortunately we won't be able to update it until the official SQA result has been submitted. So if you've got a result that you know already, but it's not actually been submitted and confirmed by the SQA, unfortunately we won't be able to update it. But once you do get proof of it, that's the main thing, is that you've got proof of your result. Then you can send that into admissions. There should be an email address if you've got a condition on your offer if you need to get in touch.
Thanks, Kaylee. Right, a lot of people are wanting to know where they're actually physically going to be and what buildings that they're going to be in this Paisley campus. Psychology.
I think we answered that.
Did we get that earlier?
Yeah, it's quite close to the library. I think it's L Block.
For placements, how many miles out with can we be sent? And oh, Kaylee, you've answered that live. Did you answer that?
I was just going to, no, right. I'm guessing this will be a nursing or education student. Usually there is a central team within the school that allocates placements, and you obviously get different placements throughout the year, so it can change. The distance you need to travel can vary depending on your placement, but what they do usually say is that they won't ever expect you to travel any more than 90 minutes from your home postcode. So that's all the kind of information that we have at the moment. But there's a central team that allocates everyone's placements for the whole school, so they would be able to manage that, and they just look at your postcode and how far you can travel in terms of time rather than miles, so it's 90 minutes travel time.
Thanks, Kaylee.
So the next one is about Republic of Ireland and any update regarding Brexit fees. So we actually had quite a lengthy presentation by SAS, who told us about the conditions of home fees for Republic of Ireland students. So you'll be here all day if I try to explain it, because it is quite complicated and quite long as well. So what I would ask, if you want to get in touch with the Ask team, so and they should be able to provide the answer to that. But essentially, there's lots of kind of different conditions on how it works, obviously, post-Brexit. So if you do email the Ask team, someone will pick that up, and then we'll put that in an email for you. And it's obviously a lot more structured and probably best to understand as well. So obviously that's probably been put in the chat a few times, so ask@uws.ac.uk. You can see it on our backgrounds when I point it to the right way, but you can see it over there. You just get in touch with them about the fees, etc.
Hi, the next question is from Matthew. So can you speak a little bit about placement learning, how it works, any partners you work with, etc., and it's computer science that you have applied for? So Matthew, we have an offer holder session coming up on the 24th of April. And I can't remember the times, I think it might be 11 till 1. We'll still get everything firmed up, but it was just agreed the other day. So that is an opportunity for you to speak to academics who work on that programme, teach on that programme, and they are the guys that can really give you in-depth detail. However, I have checked our website and we do offer placement opportunities for our computer science programme. So what it says is you have the option of taking a double credit industrial placement module for 3 months in trimester 2 of the 3rd year of the course, and this allows you to enhance your computer skills. There is also the option of a 12-month paid placement in an industrial or commercial setting. Students have recently completed placements within South Lanarkshire Council, Renfrewshire Council and GT4. So that's what it says on their website, but for further information and more in-depth information, I would recommend that you attend the offer holder session. Details will be emailed to you about it if you are holding an offer, so don't worry about that. We're just in very early days of getting it all organised, but please keep a wee eye out for it because those are the guys that will be able to answer those questions. All right.
Another question here, on the first day of your course, how will we know where our class is? Simple answer, you probably won't, but that's why we have an induction week. So you will come the week before your classes are generally due to start, and you'll be brought into reception and you'll be guided around by our lovely student ambassadors for the week. You'll also be given several maps and there's arrows and directions everywhere to every class on the campus, particularly at Paisley, because sometimes it can be a bit of a maze with what Kaylee said earlier about how you can get to a different class through a corridor or through a tunnel. But again, probably not to worry about that just yet because we still aren't sure with the government guidelines whether everybody will be able to join us on campus come September. Fingers crossed, but we just don't know for sure yet. But you'll be guided, and if you get lost, that's totally fine. You'll find your way at some point.
I think that answers quite a few questions there.
Yeah.
Kirsty, there's a few people asking about if we'll be back on campus, and of course we just don't know yet. We just don't know, but we'll keep you posted.
So the next question is, when's the latest that you can apply for accommodation? So as far as I'm aware, technically we don't actually have a deadline. However, what I will say is our accommodation spaces do fill up quickly. So really you should apply as soon as you know that you want to stay at accommodation. So if you were making us your firm choice, you should make that application nice and early to avoid disappointment because they do fill up really quickly. So like I say, as far as I can see, we don't actually have a deadline of when to apply, but nice and early. I'll post a link again for our UWS accommodation page and you can go on and have a wee look there as well. All right.
Okay, again, someone's asking about specifically where they're going to be, and it's the criminal justice programme, and I'm not terribly sure where that building is, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think that was the one at the Ellis building that Kaylee's internet's just dropped, so I think she said it was where the Ellis building is, which is just next to the library. And stuff. But please don't worry about that. Anyway, guys, you'll get all that information again at the offer holder session too. But don't be worrying about it because, like Kaylee said earlier, all the buildings linked. It looks massive on the map, and I suppose in a way it kind of is, but if you're going for the main reception down to the library, although they look quite far apart, it's a 5-minute walk, if that. So please don't panic about it, you'll be absolutely fine.
Okay, someone asked, is there plenty of chance for work experience within our time studying at UWS? The answer is yes, but you do have to be proactive about approaching that. So this is why we have an award-winning student support team, which has a fantastic careers and development team within it. So they help you with CVs, mock interviews, and finding those work placements as well. There are many courses at UWS you can actually add an extra year on, and in that year you'll work for a company, either in Scotland, the UK, or it can be international, but it does depend on what partnerships you have and what placements you do find. But we do want to give you the opportunity to find that hands-on work experience before you graduate. So you can say in an interview, I've got a fantastic degree from UWS, but also I've got work experience, and it makes you stand out from the thousands of graduates that are graduating the same time as you each year in the same field. So we do make sure that you do have enough time to undergo a work placement, but you do need to be proactive as well about doing it.
Okay, we've got a couple of more anonymous questions, which are all on the same topic about due to COVID-19 and online virtual learning, we'll be moving towards online learning now, or will students be attending campus? And somebody said we'll be studying virtually in September, start off virtually. And as I've said previously, I'm sorry, we just don't know. I strongly anticipate there will be a blended approach in terms of September 2021 start, with getting some students back on campus, but that will be monitored and will be will be following the Scottish guidelines, whichever they may be, whatever they may be at that specific time. In terms of how many students we'll be able to have back on campus physically in September 2021, we just don't know at this stage. We do have COVID pages on our website which are updated regularly and in line with any new Scottish Government guidance. So please do keep an eye on that. But for any new students, please don't panic. You will be given all the necessary instructions that you need in order to start your course safely and without panicking about things. So just don't panic about things.
Fantastic. So we've got one just about what's the nightlife like in Paisley. So any social activities, including nightlife, Paisley has a wide range, you know, of bars, there's lots of shops, etc. But also the best thing is you're only 10 minutes away from Glasgow, so Scotland's biggest city, so that as well has a wide range of entertainment to get involved in. Obviously, when hopefully this year, when everything goes back to some sort of normality, things will be opening back up and you'll be able to get involved in all these fantastic social activities which happen at Paisley, but also at Glasgow as well. If you've got like a student rail card, you can basically get there and back to Glasgow for under £3. So it's really easy to get in between Glasgow and Paisley to get, you know, back in and out of campus and in and out of Paisley, etc. But there is so much to do throughout the year. There's so much which is organised by the university, by the Students' Union, and then everything outside of that as well. So there's so much to be done whilst you're here at UWS.
Okay, I'm just going to come in there because there's a lot of questions which we've already answered, and I'm just looking through the majority of the ones that they've still to get through, folks, and a lot of them are asking about where specifically you're going to be taught in the Paisley campus, talking about placements, which we've already covered. If you don't get the grade in your conditional offer, you know, obviously you can contact our ask@uws.ac.uk team if there's anything at all that you're worried about. Our ask team are there to facilitate any questions that you have. Again, studying abroad and with regards to Brexit, you will get all that information on our website and any updates to that. How you apply to SAS, Lisa's already covered that as well. Accommodation, how early would you be able to move into the accommodation? I don't actually know what that date would be.
That'll be on the link. If you follow the link, it should tell you specifically what week you'll be able to move in. It's usually induction week, I believe, is the first week that you can move in. In terms of the SAS question, it's the first week in April you can apply for your SAS funding, and you should use the details of your firm choice for your SAS. If that changes, if you perhaps end up going to your insurance choice university, for example, you would just change that on your online application. So do that as soon as possible, as soon as the application is open, and make sure you have it submitted by June to ensure that your SAS funding is in place. All right.
Thanks, Lisa. Kirsty, you've said that you'll answer one about the job, which is a new question. So
there's a question here: is there support person for nursing for help if needed? Every single course you could study at UWS, you get a personal tutor as well. They often tend to be one of the lecturers in the department, but they're there to help you through every single step of the way. Any issues you have, you can reach out to them and they will talk you through it. They'll encourage you, you'll help you the best of their ability. So yeah, there is a support person, it's your personal tutor, and you'll find that out on your induction week as well.
So I've said I'll answer the question about what materials are needed for the course. Do you need a specific software on your laptops and stuff like that? So if anybody's thinking of that, this specific question was specific to accounting, but for anybody that's concerned about that, please don't be. The university will get in touch with you to tell you what is required regarding software, laptops, stuff like that. We do have laptops at the university that we can give out to students to borrow during their studies if you don't have your own one. There are technology labs and stuff, so you're not required to have your own laptop if you don't have one. So don't be running out getting one and having that financial cost there. Just wait and see what happens, but please don't be worrying about it. The university will keep you right. You'll not be required to buy any software anyway. They will provide whatever software is required. Obviously if you want to buy your own laptop, fair enough, but again, you can borrow if you're struggling, so try not to worry too much about that. I have posted in the chat the link for PSMD for that accounting one specifically, so you can go and have a look at that, because it might tell you what software you might perhaps be using throughout the degree, so you can always check that out. Like we've mentioned earlier though, the offer holder session is coming up, and they are the type of questions that will be able to be answered by the academics. All right. Also, somebody's asked about how many societies there are within UWS. Again, I've posted the link there within the chat. I quickly counted and I think I got 52. So there's lots to choose from, but go on and have a wee look. I just very, very quickly counted them there. So certainly follow that wee link and you can find out for sure.
The good thing about the societies, if you don't find one, you can actually create your own society as well. So if you look on the Students' Union website, you can find more details about that as well.
Yep.
Right, I'm conscious that we're getting towards nearly an hour for the presentation, and we've answered a whole load of questions there. Is there anything in the team with the team that you're wanting specifically you feel hasn't been answered previously? I mean, important stuff like how much are pints in the union? You know, I mean, these are the burning questions that prospective students are wanting to know. Is there anything else that you feel we haven't covered?
Yeah, so I've got one here. Someone's asking what support does UWS offer for dyslexia. Please go on to our student support page. They have excellent support network there, so please go on. You can make a wee appointment with them if you're making us your firm offer. Go on and have a wee look, but there's excellent support facilities there for anyone with any sort of disabilities or anything. Please check that out. Kaylee did post it in the chat, but it's easy to find on our website. Literally type in student support, it'll come up for you. All right.
Do you have one, Kaylee?
That was just what I was going to say as well.
Fantastic.
Any kind of support that's needed, disability or otherwise, they usually put an assessment in place before you start your studies so that it's all ready for you to start. So just get in touch.
Fantastic. We just had a couple about study abroad opportunities. I don't know if we did cover it or not, but I'll just say it. I'll say it again anyway. So obviously the Erasmus program was in place before Brexit, where you could go abroad for up to a year to our European university partners, and that's been replaced with the Alan Turing scheme, which is still kind of in development, but you can actually look at the details, but it's very similar in terms of what it is. You will go to a partner university for up to a year, but it may be funded differently than it was previously. So I will put in the chat the study abroad page at UWS. Now this is going to be outdated at the moment, but keep an eye on that page, so when we do get the relevant information about the Turing scheme, we can put that onto there and you can obviously have a look and see. But we do have over 150 partner universities in Europe which you can go to. Depends on what course you're doing. Like you said, you're doing psychology, but it can depend if they have the same teaching and obviously doing the same course. But it is obviously a fantastic opportunity, and we will keep you up to date on the advancements in that over the coming months. Okay. So any more?
I'm just having a look to see if there's any.
No worries.
Right, we did talk about societies, and Adam mentioned there that if there's not a society out of the 52 or whatever that are listed there, if there is a society that we don't currently have on offer to students, you are welcome to start your own society, and how to go about that you will find on the pages of the SOS website. But I believe all you need is the paperwork, a name and 3 people in order to formally make a new society. So hope that answers your question.
I know that a couple of people are typing in the answers as well, but I'll just pick up one which Kirsty said she would answer, but just about recommending keeping your job. So it really depends on what job it is. So usually if you are getting a part-time job, go to your manager and ask, say, can I have this job working around my timetable? And usually we recommend about 15 to 20 hours of a job at the maximum, because obviously in that, outside of your classes, your lectures and seminars, we want you to study, we want you to make sure you're getting up-to-date knowledge, looking at your assignments and your reports and getting them all done on time and to the highest qualities. Obviously you get the highest quality degree possible when you do graduate, but I would say talk to your manager and explain that if I'm looking at my timetable, can you work with around my timetable? I had a part-time job, which I did at the weekend, usually 10, 15 hours. Maybe I did a few days in the weekdays if I had 3 days available from university, but it is manageable. But make sure that you are putting your degree ahead of the job, because obviously that's what you want to be working on, and afterwards you'll get that fantastic job when you graduate.
Okay, I'm just going to bring things to a close there. I hope you don't mind. We've been on for nearly an hour, and we've had, thank you so much for all those questions. That was absolutely wonderful. The team and I really appreciate you taking the time out, the student recruitment, to join student recruitment this afternoon. We hope it's given you an insight to the virtual world of the UWS Paisley Campus. And for those of you who are currently holding an offer, watch out for the communications coming from the university to come along and join us in our virtual offer holder session on Saturday the 24th of April from 11 AM to 1 PM, and we'd be delighted if you would join us then. So thanks very much everyone. Please take care of yourselves, continue to be well and safe, and hopefully we'll look forward to welcoming you in the future to UWS. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye everyone.